Friends, good morning and welcome. We are once again discussing a topic which is of great relevance for modern world, particularly the professionals and the organizations. The topic is reinventing the sense of belongingness for organizational excellence with a topic belongingness, an intangible feeling in life of creative and innovation. We will discuss the issue under the topic self-realization as the tool of developing true belongingness. Friends, large number of experts have already discussed the issues, and there are books and papers available on the topic. Therefore, we thought we will look into a new dimension for belongingness. Self realization is knowing thyself, and the process leads to making a person free of all bondages and make a real being. The statement Buddham Sangam Gacchami is a reflection of this aspect of human strength in various aspects. Let us look into the details of it. If you see from the humanity point of view, human beings are a living being and organizations are made by the people. Therefore, organizations can also be and should also be considered as a living system or treated as a living system with all the needs, requirements of a person and group in the organization. Belongingness as a subtopic is basically the sense of being part of someone, some place or group, and is evolved from social and safety needs if we go to the triangle of human needs. It acts like a safety belt both for a person and also for the group and the organization, particularly during the periods of uncertainty and turmoil. Because in normal life, everything seems to be normal. Belongingness creates an invisible thread between the individual to individual and individual to individuals in the organization, therefore with the organization, and helps in living and working with confidence and surety. And this is the key to the whole part. If you look from organization point of view, organization founders and owners are really the heart and brain of the organization, and employees of all levels are like cells, limbs, organs in the body. Therefore, for an organization, an employee is a tool of performing like a limb and organ, and for a person, organization is the source of recognition and reward. It is this aspect which gives the strength to belongingness, and hence belongingness in an organization is a two-way process. It requires mutual respect and understanding of each other's needs, the individual and the organization, for creating reliable bonds. This comes from the knowing that we are all part of one creator who sits inside us as our soul or self, and the creator had a purpose in making us as human beings. And this is the path of self-realization, which can act as a positive tool of making people and organization work in tandem for creativity and growth in all aspects required. We'll discuss the topic under various headings: introduction, belongingness, and human being, strengths and pitfalls. We cannot afford to ignore that part. And how to become creative and positive, and the role of self as the key to happy existence, and conclude with some remarks on that. Coming to the introduction, as we mentioned, a human being is a social being with needs and expectations. This Maslow's triangle, which is shown here, defines 5 key levels of needs, starting from physiological to social and safety, and social needs, and self-esteem, or what can be called as ego needs, and self-actualization on that. Belongingness relates to the groups, to the places, and gives rise to mutual needs and expectations. This is an important aspect which we need to learn from the triangle of needs, that organizations are like a living system and human beings are living beings. Therefore, both have needs and expectations. And understanding this is important for growth of both. Therefore, this has various dimensions like belongingness between person to person, as between the mother and child or husband and wife, and person to organization as an employee to the organization and everybody else in the level of hierarchies in the organization. Therefore, each has certain requirements, needs, and expectations, and limitations due to the type of relationship. These limitations give strength as well as problems, and that is what needs to be understood if we want belongingness to become as a tool of productivity and creativity for excellence of organizations. Let us look at a human being, how the belongingness relates to a human being. A human being is a living being with not just a physical body, but 3 other levels of bodies. Therefore, there are 4 bodies: physical, subtle, causal, and supercausal. Physical body is our physical part, which is the organs and systems we all can feel. But there is also an air body, which yogic teachers try to teach when they teach the pranayam and all other activities. There are various type of airs which lead to well-being and ailment in a human being, and we will see it at some other time. Coming to the second body, it is a subtle body: mind, intellect, and subtle senses. Our modern world lives at the level of mind and intellect. This is a key to understanding organizational excellence requirement, the need of organizations, and how these things affect the system. Mind and intellect. Subtle senses are like the programs behind the senses which make us sense various things. The third body, causal body, has some very critical elements like ego, attention, and subtle life force. Life force is one side, but ego and attention. Ego is the biggest problem creator in the life of a intellectual and those living at mental levels only. And this is where the problems of organizations begin, and this is what needs to be taken care of. The supercausal body, the Atma, Paramatma, and Prakriti are the eternal parts of existence. They live with the human being from birth till end of creation, that is, from origin till pralaya. These 3 elements are always there. Prakriti gives us nature, like the tamasic, rasic, sattvic, or the left-sided, right-sided, or central, which has aspects like depressive personality or optimistic personality or egoistic personality, etc. In fact, the leadership, which can be dictatorial, which can be democratic, etc., gets affected by the third body, ego, and attention. Therefore, the belongingness involves all levels and is guided by predominance of the level of existence of a person. When we are saying predominance of a level of existence means the person living at the level of mind intellect is generally having very high ego and which can act as a source of problems in the organization sometimes, and this aspect needs to be understood. Then if there are problems in that, then how do we make people creative and positive? This is the topic which we actually have chosen today in belongingness, so that organizations can get something which can help them in becoming creative and positive on that. As we said, a physical being uses nerves, it has a physical body. This physical body, organs and systems are driven by sensual signals which come from senses and travel through the nerves to the brain. Therefore, nerves and brain help in deciding and living and acting in this world. Nerves in the body are grouped into central, peripheral, and autonomous nervous system. And this autonomous nervous system also has got three parts known as left sympathetic, right sympathetic, and parasympathetic, right? Which actually in yogic language is known as Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Therefore, these aspects are something which in the Indian philosophy have been discussed from time eternal, but most important, which is generally not seen and not discussed much, is Kundalini. Kundalini is the life force. Kundalini is the life force evolved during Big Bang. Right? Big Bang we consider as an explosion, a happening in time and space, some 13.7 or 8 billion years back, right? And thereafter, this Big Bang, which was a cloud of energy, is expanded further to give birth to what exists today as a creation. But a part which is not known or not discussed is that actually this happening, which we will show further in a diagram, it started from silence when there was nothing, and there got a desire, and that desire manifests as Adi Shakti, and Kundalini is the reflection of that desire in the human being. So it is there from the beginning, and Kundalini is a living force. It sits in the spinal cord, in the sacrum bone, the triangular bone in the base of the spinal cord in a human being, and listens to everything, watches everything we do, it records everything. It is the source of sanskaras and all that which happens in the human life. When a child is born, due to cutting of the umbilical cord, a gap appears in the parasympathetic nervous system and Kundalini becomes dormant, because Kundalini is sitting at the triangular bone as shown in the diagram in the base on the parasympathetic or central part of the autonomous nervous system, which is known as Sushumna also. This creates the path of self-realization and makes a human being aware. When Kundalini is activated, it causes realization of oneself and gives rise to new level of awareness in a human being. Therefore, this not only creates the path to self-realization, but it also helps in removing negativity and become positive and seeking truth all the time, and knowing thyself becomes the final gift of this Kundalini awakening in a human being. But it is not as simple. The fact is there are problems in the path of self-realization and hence in belongingness also. The diagram below shows silence on the left side And from silence, a desire arose, which was basically the consciousness with energy or Adi Shakti, and it gave rise to Big Bang when Shiva separated from Shakti and gave birth to the origin of Om. That is exactly the Big Bang. The sound of Big Bang is Om. Energy of Big Bang is the primordial energy who is the source of all creation and existence. But important point is to see these two dots after Big Bang, the white and black. They indicate that this Big Bang happened in silence, which was a Gondoli type or black mixed in white. But when Big Bang happened, black separated from white. White became the Devi and black became the Rakshas, and they both are present in existence ever since the organization. Therefore, the negative or positive are part of reality and born with origin of creation as shown in the diagram. Human beings, due to this, suffer from 6 major problems, which are known as satripus or 6 negativities. These are Kam, Krodh, Mad, Moho, Lobh, and Irsha or Dvesh or jealousy. In this, Mad, which is ego, and Irsha act as the real pitfalls or roadblocks in the path of belongingness in organizations. These become the source of other problems like lack of belongingness and fear of over belongingness, etc., and can create misguided values. We in another place had said that values can change. There are some permanent values, which are the basic values, but there are also acquired and pseudo values, which means show off values, which really does not exist. Therefore, need is to overcome the impact of negative forces like satripus so that a person can become fearless and free to live as a human being on that. For this, self acts as the key to true belongingness, and self realization basically relates to awakening the self and knowing thyself as a path of integration of all needs, expectations, emotions, values, etc. in a human being, and it is the path which removes fear and negativity and creates a very, very positive path for belongingness, and hence self-realization removes all limitations and makes one truly belonging to any person. To practice self-realization, please put both your hands wherever you are sitting and close your eyes and look into your heart and say, God, please grant me self-realization. परमात्मा मुझे आत्म साक्षात्कार दो. हे अल्लाह मुझे मेरी रूह से वाकिफ़ कराओ. हे वाहे गुरु मुझे मेरी रूह से वाकिफ़ कराओ. और जो भी आपका देवी देवता हो, जिसको भी आप विश्वास करते हो, you please use that name of God in your life and say, God, please grant me self-realization. Repeat it silently in your heart and see the effect on hands, and slowly you will see sensations which will be the rise of Kundalini expressing through your hands, head, and body parts. This will be the path of self-realization. Doing it every day will increase its strength. And if you want to know more, please you can visit to sajyoga.org or any center nearby. Therefore, to conclude, a human being is a social being with needs and expectations. Organizations are the grouping of people with specific goals and objectives and act as living stool. Belongingness helps in aligning individual needs and goals with organizational needs and goals. Therefore, the path of fulfillment is belongingness in the organization. Self-realization makes a person belong and live in harmony with groups and organizations, and acts as a tool of empowering and enhancing productivity and contribution of individuals in the organizations in particular and world in general. Thank you very much. It was a great meeting everybody. Hope it helps and provides some path for excellence in organization. Thank you very much.